They want your vote, but they don't want you to know their plan. And that's because all they have to offer is the same prescriptions they've had for the last 30 years. Have a surplus? Try a tax cut. Deficit too high? Try another. Feel a cold coming on? Take 2 tax cuts, roll back some regulations, and call us in the morning.
That was the president's take Thursday night on the GOP agenda and what a Romney-Ryan administration would look like. So what might a second Obama term bring? Dan, what did we learn about the president's second term agenda?
Nothing. Nothing whatsoever.
Really?
Right.
Didn't he just say, he said more of the same, only a little less?
Well, more of the same. Okay, let's look. In the economic realm, more of the same would be another $800 billion stimulus. Because a Keynesian stimulus is the only economic idea they have under these circumstances.
Hire more teachers.
Hire more teachers, spend more money. That would be very difficult to get through Congress. But I think on the other side, that what he will not talk about is the second term will be an unprecedented exercise of executive authority and power. He's going to use the agencies to finish his agenda. He's going to use the Environmental Protection Agency on the environment, the Independent Review Board on medical care, and the Consumer Protection Agency to regulate the financial industry. I think this president's done with Congress.
Jason.
And he's going to your point about the stimulus, the second stimulus that he wants. He's going to need new revenue to pay for that. You will see a massive push for a tax hike. A massive push. He wants a new normal for government spending in this country. He wants, obviously, to complete the enactment of Obamacare, and that will require more government spending going forward at a higher level.
His argument, James, is that he's been saying this in interviews, is that if you re-elect me, Republicans will be chastened, and they'll have no choice but to do a grand budget bargain on my terms, which means big tax increase, which means fiddling around the edges of entitlements, and means major defense cuts. Is that what we're likely to see if he does win? Republicans are going to...
I think the bad news for voters or for American taxpayers if he wins again is that the pressure for a tax increase will become even more intense because interest rates are likely to rise. The government is going to be even going to be under great pressure to come in with more revenue to pay these bills. And so I think what you're going to see is intense pressure for that tax increase, but it's sort of like the movie The Producers. If he ever actually got his Buffett rule, people would find out how little of government it would pay for. And I think that's going to be a problem for him in the second term if he actually succeeds.
What about the partisanship question, Kim? Remember, the president said he would be able to deal with Republicans. In the first term, he thought I could calm the nastiness in politics. That certainly hasn't happened. Do we have any reason to believe that his reelection would lead to less fierce, nasty, ugly partisanship?
No. I mean, here's the thing that nobody wants to confront. If Barack Obama is reelected, the chances are that Washington is going to be configured very much the way it is right now are very high. The Republicans are likely to keep the House. They might gain a seat or two in the Senate. They might even win the Senate. But whatever happens, they're going to call this a split decision by the voters, and they're going to say, we have as much backing out there in the country to continue what we've been pushing as you. So this is a recipe for more gridlock and some more brinksmanship when it comes to things like these fiscal cliff, tax hikes, and sequester issues.
What about education and immigration reform? The president, those are things where Republicans and Democrats do see some common ground. President, I was startled, didn't really stress immigration reform at all in the speech. Talked a little bit about education. Any hope for movement on that ground, Jason?
I'm on immigration, yes, but the type of immigration reform that I don't think the Republicans want to see, which is more executive order decisions, doing what he can from the White House, doing end runs around Congress.
He's poisoned the well politically for a grand deal by doing that. Republicans resent saying, you don't go to us on Congress.
The biggest chances for some compromise might come from education, where he is pushed for charter schools, for instance. I think you can see him continue to do that. So I think that might be one area where you might see some progress.
I think if you were listening to Joe Biden and if he was telling the truth, expect no compromise. He said Barack Obama does not back down. And so I think we could expect more of the same, judging by what the vice president is telling us.
So he's going to push for an even larger tax increase, I assume, and more revenue? What does don't back down mean? Is that what it means?
Here's what it means. An advisor to the Obama campaign told a Journal reporter earlier this week, we tried bipartisanship in 2011. We won't make that mistake again.